In this video, you are going to learn how arrays work in JavaScript. Arrays in JavaScript are important because they provide a way to store and manage collections of data, not a single items but multiple items, efficiently. And that's why we are going to learn in this video how arrays work in JavaScript. More specifically, by the end of this video, you'll be able to understand the syntax, how to create arrays, how to access the elements of the array, the items, how to add and remove those items, of course, change them as well, how to loop through the arrays and make the same operation in all of the items, how to sort and reverse them, and finally some more advanced techniques that you also can apply to your JavaScript array. Another thing I want to add before starting is that the whole video is in order and everything here is important to learn, so you should probably learn how to create them before adding items and managing the items, alright? It's something like that. So let's start by understanding what's an array. Imagine that I have here two variables, let name 1, that's equals to my name, my first name, or let name 2, that's equals to my other name. We can console.log both the name 1 and the name 2. However, since they are related to one another, because this is a first name and this is a last name, you might want to associate them. And you can associate them by using arrays. To create an array with the Diogo Veigas, you can put something like let name equals, or names, or even person. It depends on what you want. You might need a plural name with an S and a final, or just a single name, a person, instead of people. So equals, and then put square brackets, put the first value, in this case since it's a string it needs to be between quotes or double quotes, then a comma and the second value, Veigas. You can have more values of course, but this way you've created an array. And now if you console.log the person, you have the Diogo and the Veigas, the two elements that we created. And by clicking in this arrow here, the caret, you can see that we have the 0, in the position 0 we have Diogo, in the position 1 we have Veigas, and we have the length of 2. The length, it's obvious, it's the number of elements that we have. However, arrays, as you may have already guessed, start always from 0. There are cases that they don't, but they usually start from 0, and in JavaScript it's always from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the maximum is always going to be the length minus 1. Now let's understand the different syntaxes of how you can create an array in JavaScript. You've already seen the first one. You can create a variable, like name, and you can set the values inside. If they were integers, you won't need to do this. You could put here numbers equals to, and then put 1, 2, 3, it's up to you, all separated by commas. Another way of creating arrays is by simply specify emptiness. As an example, just to be funny, you could put the square brackets and create it just like that. Now if you console.log that empty array of emptiness, you are going to check that it is empty. So the length is of 0 and you have nothing inside, you have no items. You can also use the array object by doing things. You can, as an example, let color equals to new array, and then you can create an empty array by don't send any argument, any parameter. If you put console.log color, we are going to receive an empty array. However, if you come here again, just do the same thing, but this time put values inside. As an example, 1, 2, false, blue. You can see that we have an integer, a number 2 that's in string, a false of true or false, a boolean, and the character, the char. We enter, and if you console.log color, since JavaScript it's a dynamic programming language, you'll find that you can have multiple values inside the array. You don't really need to put the same data type for every item of the array. The array can have the multiple different data types. You can even create arrays inside arrays. I'm going to show you really fast. Let mega array is going to be equals to blue. Then I'm going to put here. And now you're going to see in the console log that you are going to have here what's called mega array. And we enter and you open and you have here a blue, and then we have an array with 3 items. And each individual array have its individual items and its individual lengths. Now, in order to access those items, those elements of the array, we are going to specify the index of them. Let's just console.log colors, color, it's color only, this one doesn't exist. We can see that we have the index of 0, 1, 2 and 3. If we console.log or even alert the index of 0, that's the first one, color, square brackets, and put the 0 inside, you're going to only see the number 1, because it's the one corresponding to this index. Since you already know how to access them, you can show them individually. If we put alert as an example, that also works with a 2, so we are going to put color 2, enter. Let's go to the page, and as you could see, there is the false that we just shown in the index of 2. You might also want to change the values. Imagine that you want to change the position of 0 to true, as an example. You can put the color, the array, then you can put the index, in this case it's going to be 0, and you can specify what it is going to be equals to. You can put it to 2. And in this case, if we console log again our color, you have true, 2, false, b. Of course, you can also affect the elements of the array by index that doesn't exist. As an example, you can use the length inside here, so color.length, to add a new element. And that's already entering in the part of the video where I teach you how to create and remove items inside an array of JavaScript. If you say that the color.length, the index, so 4 of color, the fifth item, which is the index of 4 of this array, is going to be equals to banana, this is going to increase the size of the array. And by saying that, I mean console.log color, and this will increase the length, and of course add the banana at the end, because we use the color.length to specify the value of it. You can also do it the other way. You can put color, and then put a really big index and say that it is going to be equals to anything you want. And this way it is going to create multiple empty elements and then have the 12. And yes, the length is going to increase. We jump from the 4 to the 20, 15 are going to be empty. To create arrays in JavaScript, you can also use another methods that are actually better. 4 different functions that help you adding and removing stuff in those arrays of JavaScript. In this table that I did, you can see the push, the pop, and shift. The push will always add, such as the unshift that will also add, while the pop and the shift are going to remove. However, there are some particularities. The push will always add an element, only one element at a time, at the end of the array, while the unshift will add it at the beginning of the array and making all the other elements increase one of the index. So the new element keeps itself always at the beginning, while the pop will always remove from the end, and the shift will always remove the first element, from the start of course. The push and the pop are the most used ones, because removing from the beginning it's not really something we usually do. You can use it, but it's not so common.
Oh!
There is yet another thing that's not specified in this table, but it's pretty easy. The functions that add, so the push and unshift, will always return the new length of the array, while the pop and the shift will always return the value of the element that they removed. So let's try to use it. If you come here and create a new array called monkeys, you should always make names that are properly usable. Don't put monkeys and store inside of it bananas. It doesn't make sense. Actually it does, but always choose meaningful names. So we are going to start with it empty, and we are going to console log it so you know that it is actually empty. If you want to add a banana to the monkey, you can come here, monkeys dot push banana. This way we are going to add another banana, but now blue banana, and now we are going to console log it. This way you can see that we have a banana and a blue banana, and you can also see that the 1, it's when we increased 1, so the new length is 1, and the 2 again, to always return the new length. Then you can also use the monkeys dot unshift, and just as the push, you need to put the value of the element that's going to be added. Banana green. So now it has the length of 3. Let's console log it again, and we have the banana green right at the beginning, and as obviously the banana and the blue banana needed to get increased by 1 in the index. You can also use the pop to remove from the last position. monkeys.pop. We don't need to put anything inside this time, because it's simply removing, and it's going to return the blue banana, which was the last item. By console logging it again, we can see that the blue banana got removed. And now, if we use the monkeys.shift, what's going to get removed is going to be the banana green, because it's the first element, right? Enter, banana green. And as you can see, now we only have one normal banana for the monkey. Now to loop through the items of a whole array, you should use something like a for loop. You can also use the while and while, but the for is better because you already know how many times you want to run it. So let's create an array, robots, and it's going to have 1, 2, and 3. Or better, this one is going to be 4. Alright? So let's start with the for loop that we just talked about. The for, you start by specifying the variable that's going to be looped. You are going to run it while the I is smaller than the robots.length. Remember the length of the array, how many elements it has. And it's going to be increased one by one, step by step, loop by loop. And then you are going to have these curly brackets, and inside of it you are going to specify what operations it's going to make. Let's put an if, just so we make more complex stuff. If robots. Now remember how to access the elements. You can put here the number, in this case 0, 1 or 2, the 4, 2 or 3. You will be able to put here an I, which is going to be the I that's going to run through the for, that's also going to be responsible working with the array elements. So it's even. It's going to come here and console.log, or even better, we are going to put alert, and we are going to alert the exact same element that we just saw, and is even. Oops, I removed everything by mistake. Let's come again, console, there we go. Now, if we come here to the browser, we can see 4, 2, well, it actually is shown the 4 and the 2, but it didn't show the string saying that it is even. So let's just try it one more time, just for the science. Let's put it this way it's obviously going to work. 4 is even and 2 is even as well. You can also make more specific things. You can multiply, remove, change. Imagine that you are working with a DOM. You might want to come here, something like that, and imagine that you want to put the robots .style.display equals to none. Something like that. Imagine that you want to hide all the robots in your web page. This would be something like that using the DOM manipulation. And well, outside the for, there's also the for each. But the for each is a little bit more complex. I'm not going to cover it in this exact video. If you want me to make a video about for each in JavaScript, just leave a comment and I will try to make one for you, and a well-made one. Now let's try to sort arrays in JavaScript. To do that, let's come here and put places, and it's going to be equals to square brackets. Now we are going to put here the countries, Portugal, mine. You are going to put here Australia, and you could also put something like New Zealand, something like that. And now we are going to try to sort it. But we won't need to make any algorithms, because JavaScript already has a function that will sort everything alphabetically. So if you put places, the array, dot sort, parentheses, empty parentheses, no arguments, enter, sorted, Australia, New Zealand, Portugal. If you want to make the order descendant, you just come here, places, dot, reverse. And if you come here, create again the same thing, the same array, console.log these places, Portugal, Australia, New Zealand, of course. You can also put something like places, dot, sort, dot reverse, and this will also automatically sort it in the descending order. You don't need to call the functions separately. However, the same thing isn't with integers. When you are working with numbers, integers, doubles, floats, it doesn't matter. It will also sort it alphabetically, string-like. So if you put here numbers equals 2, now I'm going to put here 1. Let's do it like this. However, you can also put here 10, 21, and 7. Let's see if it is going to get sorted properly. Numbers.sort. As you can see, 1, 10, 2, 21, 3, 4, 5. What is this? So, 1, okay, 1 is smaller than 2, alphabetically speaking. However, the 10, it's just like a string. You put the 1 and the 0. It's like using letters. The 1 is previously than the 2. And the 1, 0, it's of course after the 1, but it's also previously the 2, because the second character is only used when the first is the same. In this case, since the 2 is not 1, well, it will simply say that the 2 is after. And for that we also need to create a function. But you can use the sort function and create our custom function inside of it. So numbers.sort, and you can create here a function. Something like function, you don't need to specify the name or anything. A and B, we are going to receive those two letters, and we are going to return A minus B. This would work. However, for you that already know how to create arrow functions, or if you want me to make a video about it, I can make it. I'm going to do it with arrow functions. You can open the parentheses, A and B, those are the arguments. Then you put here the arrow part of the function, the equals and this symbol here. Since you are not going to do anything before the return, we are going to return it already. You can put A minus B. And this is going to do the exact same thing. And by doing this, we can enter it, and it's already sorted by integers, by order of the numbers. Remember, by using the A and the B, you can subtract them and they will order themselves in integer form. Of course, the reverse can also be used in this way. You can come here, paste this, and you can put also numbers.reverse. By reversing the numbers how they are, you are going to see the 7, the last one, first one. Then 21. Here was the almost last one. Here's the second. And it goes just like this, you see? You don't need to sort it before reversing. You can reverse it whenever you want. Now let's get to the extra tips, the final techniques that I'm going to teach you guys. The first one is going to be using the index of in JavaScript. This function here you can use in an array. So I'm going to create here an array of bananas. And we are going to put here some numbers, just like this. Seems fine. And now we are going to console log the bananas. And we are going to try to use the index of. We put here the bananas. And the index of will ask for a value in the argument and will return the position of the first element that has that same value. But of course, as you could see, I'm not putting anything here and it's saying -1 because whenever I put here some value that doesn't exist in an array, if there's any element with that same value, it is always going to return -1. So if I come here and put as an example the 7, it's going to return 3, which is the index of the 7. So one validation that you could do when working with the index of is going to be something like a value. We are going to receive a value going to be equals to 4. Then we are also going to have the bananas. The index is equals to the var index. And let's also put var value. It's going to be equals to the bananas dot index of. And we are going to put here the value. We are going to receive a value, in this case, statically but dynamically by the user or from the DOM of the HTML. We are going to search the value that the user chose and we are going to say where it is in the array. And if the index is different from -1 or if it's bigger than -1, it's because it's okay. So in this case you can do something like alert okay. However, we should also have something like an else alerting not found. Something like this. If we enter this and come to the browser, not found, because it was, as you could see, 4, it didn't exist. But if you put 3, we are going to receive the value and you even put here plus position. And we are going to put here the index, so paste, and there we go. Now if we enter this, it is going to find the position of 3 should be returning 1. So let's enter it, 1, position okay. Just as expected. And now since you have already understood the index of, in which you put an element and receive an index, in the case that it finds something, I'm going to teach you another function in JavaScript to manipulate arrays. One that is capable of changing, adding, removing, do everything into arrays using the index. And it is the splice one, not slice, because slice simply gets elements. This one is a splice one. So if you create here cars equals to, now we're going to have the blue one, the red one, and we also have the yellow one. And no, I don't really know the brands of the cars. I'm not really specialized in that. We can console.log the cars, and with the cars you can, as an example, open it, check the index, and use the cars.splice. In this function, it receives multiple values. The first parameter is going to be the index of what we want to change or do anything about. So the 0, we want to change the blue. How many elements we want to delete? 1, only want to delete the blue. However, I'm going to add more elements. If you want to add more elements, you need to specify all those elements here. So, as an example, white, black. In this case, the length of the array is going to be increased to 4. We are going to remove the blue, but we are going to have the white and the black. Enter it. We receive the blue because it's the value that got removed, the reintegrating value of the splice is always going to be element that got removed. And then you can come here, use console.log cars. And this way, you can see that we have the white as the 0, then you have the black, red, yellow. As an example, if you want to delete something, you can simply come here and put the 0 and the 1 and it is going to be removed. Of course, you can also increase more things by just put 0 and only put 1. So in this case, you are simply adding something, as an example, the index of 2. So we didn't remove anything, but console.cars. You can see that the array got increased instead of length of 4, length of 5, and we added it at the second position, so the black, as you can see here. With that in mind, we can already try to make something a little bit more complex. The very last thing I'm going to teach you guys is how to delete a specified element from an array with the value given by the user. So let's check it out. We're going to say that the value is going to be equal to the prompt, so we are going to receive this like an alert, but we can actually put a value. So we are going to receive the put a color, please. Then we are going to create an array. Let color equals to. Then you're going to put here red, black, white, blue. Just an example, okay? Then we are going to use color, and then we are going to receive the dot index of, and you are going to receive the value as a parameter. So we are going to search an element of the array that has the value that the user introduced. You are going to also create here var index, and if the index is bigger than -1 or it's different, so if it does find, we are going to use the splice function, so color.splice, and we are going to put here the index, and we only want to delete one value. And you can also specify, it was not that. We are going to cancel it. We are going to keep doing what we were doing, and we are going to also alert deleted, not found. And another thing that we could also do, it's something like, before actually asking for a value, we could show the array, alright? So, in here we could put color, let's test it out. Put the color please, red, black, white and blue. If we put purple, put OK, not found. However, if you run again the code, we can come here and write red, successfully deleted. Yes, we could also alert, but we can alert now, it doesn't matter. Our console log can see it with more detail. Color. What you will be able to see is that the red, which was the first position, is not here anymore. And if you run this code again, it will still have the red, because we created again the, the array. But if we put white, successfully deleted, we are going to try to come here, colors, here we go. As you can see, the color got actually deleted from the white. We inserted white, remember, and the one that isn't here anymore, it's the white. And with this piece of code, with asking the value can be get from here, from a prompt, statically, randomly, or even from the DOM, which is the best way. You can use then the index of the function of the JavaScript for arrays and insert here the value. If there's any element with this value, you can use the splice to specify which index is going to be changed and delete it with 1. If you put 2, it is going to delete the element that you want to delete and the next one. And you can also alert that it was successful. If not, then not. And don't remember, index of always returns -1 when an element with that value doesn't exist. For this video, it's everything. I hope you all understood everything, or at least could grasp a little bit better the concept of arrays in JavaScript. When in doubt, leave a comment that I will help you out. I'm Diogo Veigas and I'll see you in the next video.